Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Alter Your Health Live, your source, as always, of information and inspiration to promote the holistic transformation of your health and the health of our planet. And I'm your host, Dr. Benjamin Alter.
I'm your co-host, Dr. Susanna Alter.
Thank you so much for joining. We're really excited to dive into this topic, which we actually don't talk really hardly ever about. And that is the topic of physical exercise, physical activity, moving your body in various ways. We don't talk much about it. We tend to talk about other determinants of health, but exercise and movement is important. And before we dive in, do you want to just give a couple of announcements, Susanna, about what's going on?
We are so excited because on August 5th, we will be launching our very first online course. And the title of this course is Medicinal Living. It's a 6-week course that takes you through all of the essential lifestyle factors you really need to be aware of in order to reverse disease and fully live an optimally healthy life.
Yeah, we have been really pouring our love into this course. It's been a struggle at times to work through the technological obstacles that we're faced with. It tends to be in the realms of technology that a lot of learning has happened. But in any case, we're excited to share this information with you in the form of this beautifully designed course. Anyways,
I mean, really though, I think we might be underselling it a little bit. We feel like we have set this course up so that if you take it and you put your 100% energy intention into really engaging with the material, you will see enormous transformation in your health and your life.
It's true. We're not selling it at all right now. We're just sharing about it. But it's true. If you were to take this very intentionally, this would totally transform your life. There is no doubt about it. And really, the areas that we cover in this course, it's so much more than we can do one-on-one with individuals, actually, just because it's so focused, so much information, really, conveyed in a way that hopefully really allows you to digest it, integrate it, take action from it. And it's set up over the course of 6 weeks, every single day, so that you are just led into health. And that's how we've designed it. So anyway, we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, in episodes to come. But I want to talk about exercise, working out, moving your body, things that we don't talk about all that much and are still, quite important for health. And to just introduce this conversation, I do want to emphasize that maybe the reason we haven't talked so much about exercise, physical activity, is because it isn't the most important factor, the most important determinant of your health. There are others that are equally or more important. And I think the biggest one, of course, is food. And that's why we spend so much time talking about food. And the other that is really important is also, mindset and our connection with our thoughts and our emotions and that aspect of our health. But that being said, we do like to talk about the determinants of health being kind of the foundational building blocks of the foundation of health. And you really can't have a wobbly foundation. You really can't focus all of your efforts on food while neglecting exercise or movement. And you can't focus all of your efforts on your spiritual well-being or your mindset while neglecting food or neglecting exercise. So it all works together. And I think we need to remember that as we move forward in this conversation about exercise.
Right. So Ben will be leading this conversation, but how about you tell us about what some of the different types of exercise are? Because the title of this podcast episode is The Best Workout for Your Health. So what is the best workout for your health?
All right, well, let's get right into what the best workout is for your health, and then we'll fill in the gaps around the various other workouts that could also be very good for your health. But the best workout that is perfect for your health is the workout that you do and is the workout that you enjoy. So I think that is really the take-home message, is that we are designed, in a human body, in a physical body, we are designed to do physical activity. That is why we have arms and legs and feet and toes and all the body parts that we have. We've got to use them and move them. So the physical activity, the workout that you do and that you enjoy and that you consistently do and have a good relationship with is the best workout for your health. That being said, we are going to tweeze apart some options, because I think it's really healthy to experiment with new exercises all the time, new activities, bring your body, out of its comfort zone, so to speak, and try new things. So the various types of activities that we can kind of break exercise into are cardiovascular activities, high intensity interval training, calisthenic type activities, weightlifting, which is another one that, is important, and then maybe more restorative, gentle, like yoga, stretching activities that are absolutely exercises. They're actually absolutely workouts. And, they might not get your heart rate up so much, but they are so important for your health. So I think that, a healthy exercise routine, a healthy relationship with exercise has a little bit of all of these categories of movement woven into it. And that being said, if someone really hates cardiovascular activity in the form of, riding a bike or running or swimming or things like that, then, people can be just, super duper healthy without doing, our classic cardiovascular activities. Going for a walk, I think that, it's hard to be healthy without regularly walking. Human beings were designed to walk, but it doesn't have to be anything. You don't have to walk across the country. Maybe just across the parking lot and parking on the far side of the parking lot and walking across the parking lot, and maybe doing so in a way that allows you to, get a little bit worked up in the sense of getting your heart rate a little bit elevated. But there are other ways to elevate your heart rate.
Great. So what would some of those be for someone who's just maybe not able to walk at the moment, or, they just don't like walking?
Well, I'll share a quick little anecdote about my relationship with exercise. I have been really into kind of more cardiovascular endurance exercise a lot in my life, mainly through college and stuff. And after college, I took a big break and I really dove into yoga and restorative exercise and breath specifically. And in my experience, breathing activities, breathing exercises, mindful breathing exercises is really one of the most important parts of cardiovascular exercise. It's cardiovascular exercise is forcing us to breathe. And we can force ourselves to breathe without moving our body. And actually doing so can increase our cardiovascular fitness. And also, we know that breathing and using the full capacity of our lungs is really essential for detoxification. A lot of people are walking around using just 10 or 20% of their lung volume, and they've got all this, space that is underutilized. And not only is it underutilized, but it might be harboring pathogens or toxins or just stale, stagnant energy. So we want to be moving that. And that's one benefit of cardiovascular exercise. But yeah, you don't have to move your body. You can just do, rigorous breathing exercises on some sort of regular basis if you're into that sort of thing.
Oh, I really love that. I love that, especially for our healing community, people out there who are healing and might not be at a place where they can physically move their body very, very rigorously.
Mhm.
So having that option, I mean, everyone can breathe, right?
Mhm. And then, of course, some people who might not be able to use their legs as, don't have, maybe they've got arthritis in their knee at the moment, or, various, acute injuries in the lower body or something like that. We can do upper body workouts and still get a cardiovascular workout. So weightlifting, that brings us to weightlifting, which we think about it as being a really great way of building bone density and, of course, muscle mass, which as we age is really, really important. It's really a predictor of longevity, the amount of bone density and muscle mass that we have. And we should be starting that, not when we're 50 or 60 or 70 years old. We should be starting that now when we're, well, wherever you are, you should be starting it whether it's in your teens or your 20s or your 30s, you should be lifting weights and building muscle mass, or at least maintaining muscle mass every single week, let's say. There should be some lifting going on. And once again, it doesn't have to be in the conventional setting of lifting a straight up weight, but even walking upstairs is a form of weight resistance training. Doing some squats, lifting a bag of sand and carrying it somewhere, or cans of beans or whatever it is. Like, those kind of things can be really important for maintaining your bone density and your muscle mass as you age.
Great. I love, yeah. I mean, that everyone's talking about, oh, you need calcium, you need all these, you need lots of protein to make sure that your muscles are staying strong and your bones are staying strong.
Yeah.
But really, we see that exercise has a much bigger piece.
No, you can't eat your muscles. You've got to eat your nutrition that provides you kind of the building blocks. But the only way to build muscle and maintain muscle is to use your muscles. You can't eat your way to health. Or I'm sorry, you can't eat your way to strength and muscle and bulk or anything like that. Even though a lot of people try, a lot of people just add more protein to their shake and they think that they're going to get ripped, but it doesn't work that way. And so using your muscles, of course, is important. And then that brings us to maybe another category of exercise, which I think that is totally underestimated. And that is the gentle restorative activities that, like yoga and just stretching. Obviously, yoga, we're talking about yoga asana, the movement of your body, because there are many other aspects of yoga beyond the physical movement of the body. But, these sort of exercises are so important for, or not necessarily, well, of course, your physical body, maintaining flexibility and resilience and integrity of your joints and these sort of things. But it's also really important to tone down your nervous system, because so many people are working all day and then going to the gym and giving it their all, and then going home and eating and getting a poor night's rest, and then waking up and doing it all over again. And I think a lot of people, rather than exercise more, move more, do more, rev the engine to higher degrees, a lot of people need to take a chill pill and relax and do more restorative yin practices, I guess you could say, that allow the adrenal glands to be nourished, allow the parasympathetic division of the nervous system to be tonified, and the vagal tone. These kind of things are really important, that they end everybody, really everyone in the world, should be engaging with some amount of restorative activities.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, people who are really living a high-paced lifestyle, they need to do more of this. This should be, people should be relating to these sort of activities like most people are relating to cardio, fitness, and weightlifting. We can think about the vagal tone and the parasympathetic strength of the nervous system as being a muscle that we cultivate through these sort of practices.
Yeah, I think especially for our endurance athletes out there as well, these kind of restorative exercises are so important, because
Totally.
Endurance, I mean, any form of high intensity exercise actually does stress the adrenals to some extent. I mean, some amount is healthy, but we do need increased cortisol in our body when we're exercising to really, be able to do the movements of the exercise.
Yeah.
So when people are out running for hours or biking for hours, the adrenals are constantly going and producing more cortisol. So yes, just back to how important this is to create that balance within the body so that the adrenal glands don't get tapped out.
Totally. A lot of people are tapping them out every single day and forgetting about these basic lifestyle practices and activities, and we'll call them workouts, even though it's a restorative workout, but it still can be a workout. We can relate to it in that sort of way, and that can be so important. So moving on to some, specific benefits from all of these various types of exercises that we can be doing. And I think it's really, really, empowering to focus on the power that these activities, that these physical practices can have, and not forgetting, like we started the conversation with, that food really is probably the most powerful way of, creating an optimal environment in the body. Just because we are eating at least a few times a day, and if we're poisoning ourselves, so to speak, with food, and then trying to just counteract that with a lot of activity, it just doesn't work that way. It's just not going to work out. And a lot of people who are feeling themselves optimally on a whole food plant-based diet find out that they can actually perform so much better. They've got so much energy to engage in these activities, and they're not just burning the candle on both ends kind of thing. So into the benefits of these various types of exercise, a lot of them have kind of global benefits that all, categories can share. And one of those is mental health balancing. And there's a lot of studies that show that actually just walking outside, nothing vigorous, nothing extreme, but just taking a walk outside is more effective than antidepressants in treating, minor depression. And I think that is just pretty amazing because not so many mental health professionals are prescribing walking outside, despite it being the most powerful medicine to treat depression. And I think that one of the things that walking outside provides is just a little perspective. It's like we get out of our thoughts, we get out of our head, we connect with ourselves, we connect with our breath. Because, another thing that all of these activities share is some aspect of mindfulness. Physical activity kind of forces us to some extent to be mindful, at least in a new way than we would otherwise be when we're not engaging in that physical activity. It's like if I'm going to lace up my shoes and go for a run, then I'm going to be really present with my strides. I might also be listening to some music or an audiobook or a podcast or something like that, but I'm also going to be present in my life in a different way than I would be if I was just sitting at home on the computer, engaging in more monotonous work or, any other thing that I might be doing.
It's true. It's true. We hear so many different athletes talk about how they access the flow state. And what I hear when people say, oh, they access this flow state is that they really tune in with the present moment. And in this flow state, this is where people can experience great hits of insight, inspiration, clarity, peace, a sense of feeling so contented with where one is at life that the moment is just perfect. And so I think that's why a lot of people come back to exercise again and again, because it feels good.
It feels good. And we've got the boost of endorphins that come with it. That's one thing that we can measure and kind of quantify. That really does happen. And that's just one example of many of this kind of brain-body connection that we have. But moving on to other aspects, other benefits of global exercise. All exercise have these global benefits, another one being cognitive health. And really one of the main reasons for this is that we're, stimulating blood flow. And a lot of people, if you think about it, they're sitting a stagnant lifestyle, they're living a sedentary lifestyle. Their body is in more or less a state of stagnation. Their blood is also in more or less a state of stagnation. So when we move our bodies, our blood is forced to move. We are pumping our muscles, we are moving our bodies. And one of the places that our blood is going to go continuously is our brain. A lot of blood is perfusing our brain all the time, especially actually when we're exercising. So exercise of all sorts is really great for cognitive health. Another thing that, all aspects of exercise benefit is our quality of sleep. I think a lot of people, there is this global insomnia epidemic. A lot of people are struggling with insomnia. And I think that one main issue is that people just aren't getting tired enough. People aren't physically getting tired enough. I think a lot of people are experiencing maybe mental fatigue or feeling burnt out and just feeling wiped out, and they might be sleepy, but their physical bodies are not exhausted. And that's not to say that everyone should totally burn themselves out every single day, but I think that more people would benefit, especially with regard to sleep, if they push themselves physically a little bit more each day. And then, when the time comes to put your head on the pillow at night, in my experience, and from what I've heard from so many people, the lights are out and we're knocked out, and we experience also much more restful and restorative sleep. And then, moving on, we can get into immune benefits, and there's a lot of science, a lot of research around cancer prevention, and specifically preventing recurrence of various types of cancer with exercise. And there's a lot of reasons why this could be. And one thing that I definitely want to point out and spend a moment talking about is lymphatic circulation. And back to this, concept or idea of people living this sedentary lifestyle, there's not a lot of circulatory flow with regard to our vascular system, our blood vessels. There's also not a lot of flow in our lymphatic vessels, which actually depend 100% on the contraction of our muscles to be moving. So if we're just sitting around all day, our lymphatic system is totally stagnant. And if our lymphatic system is stagnant, our immune system is also pretty much sleeping, because that is the flow of our immune system. That's where our immune system lives. So we've got to be pumping our muscles. We got to be moving our body in order to keep our immunity active, on guard, alive, moving through. And then this also brings us to detoxification, because the lymphatic circulation is also really, really essential for proper detoxification of the body. And we also know that there are other ways that the body detoxes, also through our skin via sweating. And that is something that when we're moving our body for long enough time in the right conditions, we're definitely going to open up our pores. We're going to start detoxing through our skin via sweat. And also we're going to be deepening our breath like we talked about before. We're going to be accessing a more full capacity of our lungs. And we're going to be able to release whatever toxins or pathogens or staleness might be stored in that lower half of our lung capacity. Yeah, so a lot of things. And, just kind of closing this topic of benefits up on the topic of longevity, which we sort of talked about when we were, speaking on muscle mass and bone density as being really good, reliable predictors of how vital we stay throughout the years of our life. So people who have bone density that is maintained in later years generally have health that is maintained in later years. And the same is said for muscle mass. People who maintain their muscle mass throughout their life also maintain their health. And, is it a correlation or is it a causation? It's probably just a global, it's probably just a global lifestyle factor. When we're moving our body, we're probably also going to be engaging with other healthy activities. We're probably also going to be fueling ourselves to some degree more mindfully. We're probably also going to be connecting with nature. We're probably also going to be, in a more of a flow more of the time. So, with regard to longevity, exercise, physical activity, working out, moving your body is really essential. It's really hard to live a long time, to live a long, healthy, happy life in your body without moving your body,
I love that the focus of this exercise talk has been solely on health, and you haven't even brought up the W word yet of weight.
Oh,
because
yeah.
so many people just think that
calories in, calories out, just burn more calories.
They just think that the point of exercising is to lose weight or
Thanks for reminding me. That is another benefit, but that is just kind of a total secondary gain, a byproduct of living a healthy lifestyle. Absolutely. I think most people have the relationship, go to the gym, lift weights, run, ride the bike, swim the laps, do all of the things in order to release or maintain weight. And yeah, it's okay if that's your focus, but it's important to know that exercise is really, creates health, and in a healthy body, your body is able to naturally maintain weight. And I think that, the topic of weight loss is, we could dive off into that, but we're not going to right now. But and then I think it's important to touch on the question of how much exercise. And it's interesting. I read somewhere that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, recommends 30 minutes per day, but actually there's some governmental official physical activity guideline that says just 20 minutes a day is enough. And that's interesting that the CDC says 30, but the government guidelines are 20 minutes a day. And this is just...
I feel like the American Heart Association recommends like 40 It's
Yeah.
like different depending on the organization.
It is, but the government, these guidelines, similar to the case with food guidelines, oftentimes, there's a research done, and then there's some government agency that says, all right, well, based on this research, we know that X amount of physical activity is really going to be optimal, but based on what we know, how much are Americans actually going to move their body? Given that the vast majority are in fact sedentary. So they concluded that 20 minutes was a good number to push people in a positive direction, even though the science says that 20 minutes really actually isn't enough. We're talking about just walking. So 20 minutes walking is not enough. Maybe 20 minutes of high intensity interval training or something really rigorous could replace 60 minutes of walking. But that leads to other studies that show that, there's 30 minutes of exercise gives X amount of benefit with regard to various metrics. 60 minutes gives even X plus more amounts, and 90 minutes gives even more. So really, it seems like more is better. That being said, there certainly is going to be a plateau with regard to the benefit of exercise. And I think the science says it's somewhere around 90 minutes. More than 90 minutes really isn't going to provide more physical benefit. But that being said, I think that the take-home message is, once again, finding the activities that you enjoy doing, finding the activities that you can do consistently, and doing them on a regular basis, whether it's 30 minutes some days, 60 minutes some days, or 90 minutes some days. Getting out and moving your body in ways that you enjoy is really, of course, the take-home message. So that's about it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, another way to translate that last take-home message too is something we always say, which is to listen to your body, listen to the innate wisdom in your body. And I know for Dr. Benjamin and myself, our exercise routine, I won't even call it a routine because there's nothing routinely about it. We literally wake up, tune in with the body, and ask ourselves, okay, how do you want to move today?
Yeah.
Is it on the yoga mat, or is it climbing up some steep mountain?
Right. We used to work out more together, I should say. And we've, allowed ourselves the space to follow our own wisdom. That being said, I think, exercising in groups with friends, with family can be really great as well. And I want to point out another benefit of exercise, something that exercise leads us into. You kind of talked about connecting with our wisdom, connecting with our intuition and inner peace, which is really where exercise can point us. Another thing that exercise can point us into is nature. And, I'm always going to personally choose exercising in nature as opposed to indoors or in a gym. Or, and if I'm exercising indoors, that's okay too. But I think that there is an element of, mindfulness, presence that comes into every exercise routine that I, engage with. And I think that is the opportunity as well, not just burning through the workout and trying to get to the other side as quickly as possible, but being present with it and enjoying it and feeling the benefits, feeling the positive gains that you're making with regard to your physical body, with regard to your health, with regard to your mindset, and all of those sorts of things. So I spoke a lot longer than I thought I was going to on this topic. It turns out that there is quite a bit to say with regard to exercise and physical activity. But once again, the focus, the reminder, the take-home message is that it's just one little block that fits into this big foundation of health. Exercise is, and the other blocks include food, breathing, drinking water, staying hydrated, thinking, the relationship we have with our thoughts, the relationship we have with other people and our work, and also our connection with our purpose. These are some of the foundational determinants of health, which are the focus of our Medicinal Living online course. So we'll leave you with that. If you would like to learn more about our online course, it is now open for pre-registration. And you can find out more at www.alter.health/course. course.
And if you pre-register before the launch date of the course, which is August 5th, you can get 50% off of the entire cost of the course, which is a really awesome deal. So we recommend that you all take advantage of that.
It's a 6-week program,
Think
we already said. And yeah, if you have any other questions, go to alter.health/course and learn more. And on that note, we thank you for your kind time and attention. And maybe you're even wrapping up a workout right now, in which case, hurrah, good for you. And if you haven't already subscribed or rated or reviewed this podcast, we'd be so grateful if you would take the 5 or 6 seconds. It might take longer than that, but click those buttons and like and subscribe, and even share it with someone who might benefit from hearing this sort of information on a regular basis. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye for now.